Hey there, welcome to LC Yoga. My name is Laura, and today's practice is called Power and Ease, which may seem like opposites, but when we talk about power, we're talking about strength, but we're also talking about the power within us to create ease. And those two things together create balance, and that's what we're after today. So you may need a couple of props. You might want to have a bolster or blanket or maybe a block or maybe some books nearby. You may not need them, but you might want to have them handy just in case. So if you're ready, get on your mat and I'll meet you there. We'll begin today in a simple cross-legged position. So find a comfortable seat, just simple cross-legged, doesn't have to be anything fancy. And we're going to start with three-part Taoist breath. So find your seat, sit tall. Let the crown of the head work away from the sit bones as they press into the ground. Arms can be slightly bent, hands on the knees. Close the eyes, just for a few breaths. Take this opportunity to just arrive on the mat. You've stepped away from your morning or your evening. And all that matters is you and the mat. Let the breath deepen. It doesn't have to be any kind of fancy breathing, just deep inhales. Maybe let the breath go into the belly. And let that all out through an open mouth. A few more times like that. Release that corset that we all keep around our bellies. Let it go. And with that, we'll begin our three-part Taoist breath. So slowly open the eyes and start to sweep the arms out and up, out to the sides and up as you inhale. And as you exhale, let the hands come down behind the head and then press out to the sides. Inhale, flip the palms and curl the fingers in toward the shoulders. And exhale, press the hands out in front of you and round the spine. Flip the palms, sweep the arms up overhead, inhaling. And exhale, ribbon the spine and fold forward, bow. Inhale, sitting up and lifting the arms out to the sides and up. Exhaling the hands behind the head and out to the sides. Inhaling, curl the fingers in toward the shoulders. And exhaling, push it out in front of you, round the spine. Flip the palms, inhale, reach up. And exhaling, getting humble, bow forward. Inhale, coming up, sweep the arms up. Exhaling, hands float down behind the head and out to the side. Inhaling, curl. Exhaling, press it away. Flip the palms, inhale, reach up. Little bit of a back bend. Exhaling, bow forward. And come on back to sit. Bring the hands to the knees, close the eyes. Spine is long. And let the breath do whatever it wants. And open the eyes. And we'll step to the front of the mat. So stepping forward, bringing your feet about hip distance apart. As you inhale, sweep the arms out and up. And bring the palms together, bend the knees, and fold forward. Bend the knees deeply here. And no matter how flexible you are, just bend the knees and bring your belly to your thighs. And then as you breathe deep, you can start to turn the tailbone up toward the sky. Stopping when your hamstrings tell you to, but keeping the knees as bent as you need to. Hands can be on the floor, the feet, the shins, or you can rest your elbows on the knees. You choose. We're just going to hang out here in forward fold for just a minute. You can stay still, or you can start to move side to side, rocking the hips, and your head goes in the opposite direction. Maybe bending one knee and then the other. Just gonna figure out what you need in this pose. And let the crown of the head sink toward the floor. So we're not trying to get our nose on our shin. We're trying to get that top of the head closer to our toes. So it's a long, long spine we're looking for. We don't want to round it. We just want it to get longer. And you'll notice as you do that, you'll let the torso get heavier toward the ground. You'll feel more of a stretch in the backs of the legs. Breathe deep. And on your next inhale, come into a flat back. So lift halfway up. And then plant the hands as you bend deeply into the knees and step back into a downward dog. You're in an upside down V shape. In downward dog, press your fingers into the floor, all 10 fingers. Knees can be bent and your heels do not have to touch the ground. And lift the shoulders away from the ears by pressing into the ground with the fingers. And again, you're turning your tailbone up toward the sky. Your next inhale, reach your right leg up toward the sky. And as you exhale, come forward, so you're almost in a plank position. You're going to draw that knee in toward the nose, round the spine. And then inhale the leg back up, three-legged dog. 2 more times like that. Inhale, coming forward, round the spine, knee to nose. Inhaling back up. Exhale, round. Inhale it up. This time, bring your right knee to your right elbow. And then back up. And now twist and bring it to your left elbow. And before you go back up, straighten that leg out toward the side. Rest the foot on the floor. And then sit down. Turn so you're in Janu. Bringing the right foot to the inner left thigh. Bend the left knee, scoot the hip back. Inhaling to get a long spine. And then exhaling, bow forward. Deep breaths in the back of the left leg. Now you can hang out right there, or you can flow with me in this pose. So we're going to place the right hand behind, sweep the hips up, and the left arm overhead. Press the hips forward. Deep breath in. Exhaling, sit back down Janu. Maybe grab the outside of the foot. Inhale, back up. Lift up. Exhaling, stretch it out. Inhale up. Exhaling, stretch. One more time. Lifting up. Exhaling and stretch. Now come on up, cross the legs, plant the hands, and step back to downward dog. You're facing the back of the mat. Maybe come up on the tippy toes as you inhale. Exhaling, press the heels down. Other side, lifting the left leg up. Exhaling, draw it in toward the chest, around the spine. Inhale it up. Exhaling and round. Inhale. And exhale. Inhaling, lift. Exhaling this time to the left elbow with the knee. Inhaling it up. Exhaling and twist to the right elbow. Then straighten the leg so the foot's on the floor and sit down. Bring the left foot to the inside of the right thigh, so we'll take Janu on this side. Bend the knee, scoot the hip back. Start to come forward, leaving your left or your right knee as bent as it needs to be. Deep breaths here. Now again, like in all forward folds, top of your head or your chest is reaching towards your toes. Either one. It's not that you're trying to get your nose on your knee. Get long. And hang out right there, or if you want to come with me, place your left hand behind and sweep your hips up, right arm overhead. Deep breath in. Exhaling, you're back in Janu. Inhaling, lift. Exhaling, stretch. Inhaling, a lot of joy in this one. Find it. Exhaling. Last time, inhale it up. Exhaling, stretch. Cross the legs, plant the hands, step back, downward dog. Deep breath in, up on the tippy toes. Exhaling and press. This time as you inhale, ripple the spine forward. We're going to come all the way into an upward dog, dropping the hips, toe mounds on the floor, thighs are off the ground. Exhaling, pull back, downward dog. 2 more times like that. Inhaling and exhaling. Drop the knees if that feels like too much. Deep breath in, chest to sky, and let it all out. This time come forward into a plank as you inhale, and as you exhale, drop the knees and come all the way to the ground. Inhaling into a cobra, press all 10 toes and all 10 fingers, and exhale, lower down. Inhaling up, exhaling, lower. Last time, inhaling, come up as far as it feels good in your own body. Exhaling, lower. Press up onto the knees and pull back into a child's pose. Rest the forehead. Take a little mini break. The knees can be wide. Deep breaths into the back body. On your next inhale, we're going to slither forward back into a cobra, but this time tent the fingertips to the left and to the right, so they're off the mat. As you inhale, chest reaches up and forward. And then exhale, look over your right shoulder. Bring your left shoulder forward. Inhaling up through center. Exhaling, look over the left shoulder. Inhaling center. Exhale right. Inhale center. Exhale left. Coming back to a regular cobra and then pulling back into child's pose. And then come on to hands and knees. Walk the knees forward, and we're going to take hero pose. So if you're dealing with any kind of knee issue, this is where you're going to need a prop. So find a block or some books or the bolster and place that under your hips. Because what we're going for is sitting between the hands. So if your knees are feeling fantastic, not giving you any trouble, you can drop the hips between the knees. But if that feels at all uncomfortable, sit up on something. It can be anything. It doesn't have to be a official yoga prop. What we're going for is a nice stretch in the front of the legs. So backs of the hands to the thighs, close the eyes, and just feel that. You should feel a nice stretch in the front of the thighs, the shins, tops of the feet. Now, if you're not feeling much at all, you may want to, and you're on the ground. So if your hips are on the ground, you may want to start to recline. So you can bring the arms behind you, maybe lowering down onto elbows. Check that out. If that still doesn't feel like much, come all the way down. But only doing this if your body's really asking for it. There's no other reason to. It's overrated. If you're sitting up on something, hang out there, eyes closed, feeling the stretch. Do the same if you've reclined. If you feel any crunching in the back, if you've reclined, try curling the tailbone under by pressing the hips up and then lowering them back down. That may help. If that doesn't feel better, sit up. So we're not looking to compress anything here. Just a gentle sensation. A couple more deep breaths. And if you've reclined, press the elbows into the ground and start to come on up. And wherever you are, remove the prop if you have one. Press the hands into the ground, and we're going to stretch the backs of the legs by pressing one foot back, rock back and forth. And then do the same on the other side. Just do that a couple times each side. Just get into the backs of the knees. Then cross the legs, coming over the legs so you're in a seated position. Extend the legs out in front of you. Start with bent knees and scoot the hips back. Maybe sit up on something if that helps you tilt the pelvis forward. Otherwise, bend the knees significantly. So just like we did in our standing forward fold, bend the knees so that your tummy is touching your thighs. And then scoot the hips back, just turning the tailbone away from you. Scoot the hips back and come forward. But what you want is to keep the knees bent enough so that you're still touching the thighs. And use that scooting motion to lengthen the hamstrings. If that doesn't feel like much, that's when you know you can straighten the legs. Grab the feet, the shins, hands on the floor. Close the eyes. Stretch it out. More breaths. Enjoy the forward fold. Top of the head working toward the toes. And then walk the hands up, sitting up, and then bring the bottoms of the feet together, knees out to the side. Baddha Konasana, butterfly. Your heels can be as close to or as far away from your hips as you like. Again, do that rocking motion to scoot the hips behind you, tilting the pelvis forward. So start with a long spine, maybe your fingertips on the floor, either in front of you or behind you to help with that tilt. Press the chest forward and let gravity do its job. Just tilting into the stretch. If your fingertips are behind you, you're not feeling much, that's when you know you can bring them forward. And just sort of let the weight of the arms give gravity a hand. Bump. Close the eyes and stretch into that. Each breath, I'll let you in a little more. Keep a lot of tension in the hips. So today's practice was meant to be a quick warm-up for the hips so that we can do the good stuff, which is this. Now when you're ready, start to walk the hands back up, scoot the hips forward, and roll down onto your back. Draw the knees in toward the chest. And then take your favorite twist. So maybe scooting the hips slightly toward the right, draw the knees in toward the chest, and drop the knees over to the left. Open the arms out into a T shape. Both shoulders should be on the floor. So if they're not, place something underneath your knees to make that happen. Just looking for a nice stretch in the outer hip, side waist. Maybe look toward the right. Pressing the left shoulder into the ground to help keep the right on the ground. You can keep doing that, or maybe crossing one leg over the other, binding your legs if that's in your practice, and let the knees drop to the left. Or if you want something in between, straighten your left leg and draw your right knee across with your left hand. You choose. Take your favorite. Nice deep release. On your next inhale, come on back to center, and we'll just switch sides. So whatever stretch you took, or whichever twist you took on the first side, try that on the second. Extending your left arm out, placing something under the knees if your left shoulder's off the ground. Breathe and open. Close the eyes and just feel. next inhale, come on back to center. Stretch the legs out in front of you about the width of the mat. Let the feet just flop open. Let your hands flop open, palms to the sky. Snuggle the shoulders in, rock the head side to side. Get comfortable for Shavasana. And let the breath go. Let it do whatever it wants. Your only job here is to sink into the floor. Scan the body, and anything that feels tense, just let it release. Now you can stay here as long as you like, absorbing this energy. And when you're ready, start to bend into the knees, place the bottoms of the feet on the floor, and bring the hands to the upper thighs. Draw the knees in toward the chest, give them a little squeeze. And grab the backs of the knees and roll on up to sit. Find a comfortable cross-legged position. Half lotus, simple cross-legged. Bring the hands to the knees, palms up, close the eyes. And even in this short practice, tap into power and ease. Doing things to warm the body, build strength, not just in the body, and also create ease. You know, some of the most relaxing classes are the ones that are vigorous in the beginning. So while sometimes we think one class is for fitness and one is for relaxing, very often they intersect, cross over. Because we've got to move tension through and out of the body before we can really relax. So sometimes a combination is good. Bring the hands in prayer in front of the heart. Thank you for joining me today. Namaste.